Hello, and welcome especially to Insomniac viewers. I went to bed last night and my phone started going off virtually for hours. I'm in a message chain with 3 lawyers, a human rights lawyer and 2 criminal defence lawyers, and they were going off their brains with the news, particularly about the Manafort trial, but other things in the last 12 hours. So by the time I upload this, the results of the Manafort trial should be known. But the fact they're dragging their heels and there are questions is a real worry. So given that Manafort was in jail for witness tampering, what would stop him doing jury tampering? Hello, they only need one. They only need one Trump voter or one person bought off, and that would be that. Oh my God. So the lawyers were discussing all the legal precedents of how do you challenge that and so forth. So that was interesting. And we're all very nervous here, let alone where you are. Most of you are in the States, of course. So there's the Manafort business. Of course, he's got his next trial in 5 minutes. Another range of issues. But what we were also talking about is the number of firsts in the last 24 hours that have come out against Trump. So one was, I made a note of them. So one was the Senate. So Senator Brian Schatz, who is a Democrat but speaking for all the senators, said everyone has supported this message that the Senate stands behind the First Amendment in terms of Trump's attack on the media. It's never happened before. It's never had to happen before. People haven't had to defend the right of news to be out there. It's bizarre. So that was a first. The other first was about Brennan losing his security clearance, and there's been a lot of reaction to that, of course. But one that you may have caught or may have missed in the maelstrom that's out there on all this is his name is Navy Admiral McRaven, who led the charge of the posse who actually got Osama bin Laden. And he was so outraged over the Brennan story that he said to Trump in an open letter in the Washington Post, "Take my security clearance, why don't you? Take it. I would be proud if you took it. I want my name to go down in history alongside those who have spoken up against your horrible presidency. You have embarrassed our children, or embarrassed us in front of our children. You've humiliated us in front of the world, and worst, you have divided the nation. So take it." Wow, this is a really conservative guy. This is out there, you know. Oh my God. Then, also in terms of the media, that was another thing. I'm sure you've heard over 200 newspapers have signed up. They're all going to have an anti-Trump editorial on the same day. I'm not sure which actual day, but over 200 newspapers have agreed to do it on the same day. Never happened before. Never happened before. So it's good to know it's not just people on the left or people in a subculture or whatever who are freaked out. This is across the board stuff, you know. But all of that, dear viewers, pales compared with my next note here. Now, in a tweet, oh, the cat, hold on. Sorry, just had to let the cat out. Muriel, I think she should be on Kitty Prozac. She is so mad, that cat. Anyway, back to my train of thought. Russian oligarch, whose name is Artem Klyushin. And in a tweet, he has said Trump will be gone after his first term if he doesn't stop this Russian phobia. code, lift the sanctions. He went on further in this manic tweet. He's obviously the Trump of the Russian oligarchs. I put him in the presidency, so he better watch out. This is in an international tweet, viewers. Look it up. Raw Story had the article first. I'm sure others will have picked it up. But huge things like this get buried because of the avalanche of stuff that comes out hourly. So that's a Russian oligarch saying, I put him in the presidency and I will take him out. Oh my God, viewers, can you believe this stuff? Now, apparently, word has it that Trump himself, the glorious leader, who can only be described, as one viewer said, in terms of the eyes, insecure, immature, incompetent, that one, is freaking out himself, rampaging around the White House because he's worried Don Jr. is staring down the barrel of an indictment. So I thought it's time to revisit the eldest son. I've done quite a substantial reading on him before. Time for another one. Time to bring out the Toth deck. All right? So Donald Jr., oh, that face, as the Irish used to say, he's got one of those faces you'd never get tired of slapping. Now, please don't think I have violent tendencies, viewers. No, I don't. But I understand the expression, He has got one of those faces, hasn't he? So now, what's coming up in the very short term for Don Jr.? Don Jr. Let's have a look. So I'll just bring this down here. Well. All right. Now, these cards are speaking. Take a guess, viewers. What is his signifying card? The Death card. Yes. Not that he'll actually die, of course. It doesn't mean that. But you see the sky being cut down. If it was in a personal reading, it can be the end of one complete way of doing things and into another. In the context of this reading, you can understand why even in the dim brain of a parrot that is possessed by Don Jr., he's beginning to register himself that he's in deep shit. So the Knight of Cups is out there in his recent past. That's him galloping on, defending the indefensible, claiming that he's been wronged. It's with the cups. Cups are emotion, perception, all these other things. He's worried about how he is being perceived. But I would imagine day to day he surrounds himself with yes people, just like his father does. So it's taken a long time to penetrate his arrogance, and let's face it, let's not mince words, his out and out stupidity and delusion about what is happening. And this is very recent. It is the dawning of the horror. Sorry to tell him, Muller's on his way. So Muller, who normally comes up as the King of Swords, this is the Ace of Swords. This is the light of justice being shone. This is the sword that cuts through the deceit, the lies, the bullshit, the corruption. This is the sword that matters. So, as if there isn't enough pressure on Mueller, there is enormous pressure on Mueller, but he has got the goods, this tells me, on Donald Jr. And he's got the goods on the Ten of Pentacles, the family money. Obviously, this is not news to you, to me, to anyone who's been following this saga, but this is an update, viewers. And his outcome, the Ten of Swords, oppression. This is also, dare we hope, dare to dream, the jail card in general. So whether or not he actually goes to jail, the point is he's looking at jail, and it is looking quite grim. So the next question I want to ask about Don Jr. is, well, how bad is it going to get? But I'd like to see some sort of time frame, if I can get that. We know tarot isn't marvellous with time frames. But I'm going to look at, from now to the end of the year is even too long. It's an eternity in these particular times. I'm going to say in the next month. What's happening for Donald Jr. in the next month? Donald Jr. in the next month. Next month. He with the smackable face. What have we got? Yes. All right. In terms of the next month, he's got some strong cards, and he's got some fortunate cards. So he might have another month or so, certainly, although he's got the Wheel of Fortune spinning around here. So just so quickly, see this? This is in the Thoth deck. Art or artistry, in terms of, it's very like the Temperance card in other decks. It's about integrating things. So let's hope he has a good legal team who is able to stave off the righteous Mueller from the door for another month. That's a possibility. Behind him he has the Queen of Discs, Queen of Pentacles. I don't think this is Rebecca Mercer in this case. I think it's his mother, Ivana, Mother of Dragons, which is my favourite title for Ivana. She's certainly got his back. He has the Wheel of Fortune. In this sense, his number's up in the big picture. What is going to play out has been destined for him since the beginning. But short term, he has the Star. He's still got hope. He's hoping a lot. And he gets the Magician card, which is the wriggling out card in this context. He might miraculously pull it off. Whether that's for another month or for a longer period, I don't know. If he escapes from all the obvious things that he has done, then it will only be because he's given up another family member. So that's my next question. So I think Donald Jr., you know, he's in Mueller's sights, definitely. We know this generally. From the political commentators, we know that it's soon. And this reading mightn't be accurate. Like I said with timelines, you know, he could be indicted very soon, but this is saying he's got breathing space for a month. So the next question is, has he or will he turn on a family member? Now, I don't know how many of you have seen that video I did a little while ago called The Trump Family Cannibalizing Themselves. In that video, it was very clear in the reading that different family members are indeed spying on and may well turn over other family members. This is not the strongly knit family that it was. When you're under the sort of pressure they're all under, something's going to give. Ivanka, at least, is a strong person. Don Jr. isn't a strong person. Eric Trump isn't a strong person. Right? Donald Trump isn't a strong person. He's only held together with vitriol and narcissism. He doesn't have any real fortitude. You know, he just attacks opponents and hopes for the best. So, the question for this part is, will Don Jr. give up a family member? Let us see. Oh dear. And it leads to strife. Okay. He gets the Six of Pentacles in the top deck. Success meaning affirmation. This could be his wriggle card, his ultimate wriggle card, getting himself out. He's ruled by lust for sex, lust for money. This is his weakness, his fundamental weakness. He gets, again, the Ace of Swords. The Sword of Justice is definitely in the picture. And the Five of Wands, which in Thoth is strife. In the other decks, it's inner conflict. So the question here, I'll just draw another one. Ooh, disappointment for Don Jr. Okay, intuiting here, what I'm seeing, success, what does success mean for Donald Jr.? Success for Donald means not going to jail, right? That's his success. If justice comes down, well, it's already happening, comes at him, he has inner turmoil and conflict over turning over another family member, but ultimately I think he does it. And this is disappointment in himself to some extent, because he at least is conflicted, if only for generic reasons of, oh God, I'd rather do everything than turn Dad over or turn my brother or sister over, but he does it. So he's disappointed in himself, and certainly they're disappointed in him. So from that, viewers, the takeaway is, if he manages to keep ahead of the law and out of jail, it's at a price. It's because he's prepared to dob in a family member. And is that surprising? Not a lot. Okay, well, hang on to your hats. So much is happening. All right. And as I said, you'll probably know about the Manafort thing by the time this uploads. I'm traumatized, viewers. I'm traumatized over the Manafort outcome. Okay. Bye for now.